Hello and welcome to this little video of Easter eggs and things you may have missed for the second chapter of Lux Æterna, the case of the Zealous Zombies. Now, if you like this video, it goes without saying, please give me a like, and if you really like it, why not subscribe? You know, I do all sorts of these little videos, they crop up from time to time. They won't bombard you too much, and hopefully they're a little bit fun. And before I whiffle on any further, I just have to say a huge thank you to all those who helped make first the book, but also this video possible. A huge thank you to Deb Steamgoff, Jacob Matz, Lee Hardy, Sharon Farimond, Kevin Denwood, Beck Pierce, Paul Lewis, Gemma Innes, Charlie and Melissa. If you'd like your name shouted out randomly from time to time across the internet, then why not considering subscribing to my Patreon? It starts with just £1 a month, and the higher tiers even get free books, so it's a bit of a win-win. All the proceeds go to help me with my publishing costs, and it really does make my life that much easier. And yeah, there's lots of interesting material over there. There's links down below and over at my website aschambers.co.uk. Number 1. Sam decorating. Zealous Zombies takes up where Weird Wonderland finished, and it reminds us that we've just a bit previous we've had Ash try to take out all of Lancaster in this fit of pique, but this time, rather than drowning his sorrows in a bottle, Sam does something quite therapeutic for a change and non-alcohol based. He decides to decorate the flat. I'm a fan of decorating myself. I don't do it very often because it's a bit of a pain prepping everything, I suppose, but I think that's a bit of me and Sam there. Yeah, I think that's probably a bit of me in there, for a change. Number 2, DCI Kevin Thrower. Sort of during and after decorating, I suppose, the best way to put it, is Sam decides to introduce Alex to his favourite films. But as I turn the TV on, we meet the new Detective Chief Inspector Kevin Thrower, who has replaced Jitendra Patel after the events of Bloodline. Now, there are a couple of things to notice here. First, anyone who has watched season 3 of Fargo will probably turn around and say, hang on, this looks a lot like David Thewlis's character Varga. And yes, it is. And if David Thewlis is watching this video, do you fancy being in, it's like an adaptation? Likewise, Chris Hemsworth was Vincent Stone, so, if he's out there, there might be. You never know. Second thing to note is Alex's reaction to the DCI. Any thoughts? Leave them down below. Number 3, Highlander and Terminator 2. Here we have Sam introducing Alex to 2 of his, and indeed 2 of my, favourite films. And yes, I cry at the end of T2. Every single time I watch it. And yes, the comments which Sam makes, about the quotes, they are exactly the same sort of thing we used to say when I was at university when I was watching it. And the "come with me if you want to live" quote, Alec is going to repeat that in Child of Fire when he finally finds Amanda. Unfortunately, she's not going to have seen the movie. Number 4, Sam's new car. So Sam's new car is a Skoda Octavia, and just like his old VW Classic, these were both old cars of mine. I know them well, so if they're going to go in a book, it just makes sense really, doesn't it? Number 5, Kids Week. Here is this book's first reference to this fictional charity extravaganza. And not only are things going to kick off during Kids Week in Lux Æterna, but also in other books throughout the Spallucciverse. It's one of those events which draws lots of threads together. So look out for it in, say, Child of Light and Child of Fire, but especially when we get to Fallen Angel. Number 6, the Freemason Farmers. Now, I was a teenager in the 80s, and back then it was all conspiracy theories about Freemasons, it's dodgy handshakes, political shenanigans, and probably some esoteric occult sort of thing going on. as I grow up, with a sort of like a wiser head on my shoulder, I realise you don't really believe everything you read in the tabloids. One of my first jobs as an adult was working in a jeweler's shop, and as a result, I came across a lot of Freemasons. A lot of jewelers were Freemasons. I mean, a lot of jewelers were Freemasons. My boss was one. The guy who sold us lots of gold chain and diamonds was one. Even the guy who sold the jack of potatoes at that time on the street corner, he was one, coming for his Masonic jewellery. And I quickly came to realise that just like any other society, there's going to be good ones and bad ones. Yeah, for everyone who might say to a fellow Mason as a police officer, oh, I don't need that ticket, there's going to be those who are doing lots of good work for charity. So you can't lump them all together. And this is sort of thing I wanted to bring across for the farmers here. It's like, it's a society. And yeah, for every good one, you might have the occasional dodgy one. And these days, Freemasons are a lot more open about their practices, which I think sort of helps, really. Because there was a lot more secrecy back in the day. I don't want to go into it too much. There's loads of sites out there if you want to look into Freemasonry. And I know that Freemasonry in America, from my American readers, will be a lot different to the Freemasonry as for English readers because of background. One thing I will say, though, is the story about the lights being turned on and off. That's a true story, but more on that later. Number 7. Lucifer on Skirton Bridge. So after the encounter with the 3 teenage zombies, Sam has this dream, I say loosely dream, where he's on Skirton Bridge with Lucifer. And there's certain things we need to look at here. First, Lucifer drops a very unsubtle hint that he has seen Highlander. We need to be asking ourselves, why at this point? And second, he says that he likes swords. Well, what sword comes to mind? The blade, obviously. And then we have this image of the seven-headed dragon fighting this figure in the abyss. What's all this going on about? Well, I'm not going to say much here now, but that will all be resolved in Fallen Angel. If you've got any ideas, again, thoughts down below. That'd be great. I'd love to see them. Number 8, Justin Green. Okay. Listen up, readers. Pay attention. This is quite a big one. As you know, I like slipping little references in which are going to crop up bigger later for Sam. There's been ones about Robert Richmond, which obviously he meets in this book. That sort of thing. This is one of those. On his way through town, Sam sees a poster for a film which says that the actor Justin Green is going to be in it. And it turns out, as Sam tells us, that Justin Green and the writer of the play are actually former pupils of Loonside University who lived on the same corridor as him. When the film premieres in Lancaster, both Green and Davis are going to come to Lancaster and give a presentation about it. Now you might be saying, well, that's very nice, but what's the point? Read a couple of books, you might find out. Again, any ideas? Down below. Number 9, Archibald Gregg. Now, I'm not a fan of undertakers. Not saying they're horrid people, I just don't really want to spend too much time with them. I have a lot of respect for people who can, do that job. I just don't really need to know about it over a beer or a cup of coffee or anything like that. So it was that Mr. Gregg was used here to produce that little bit of light relief, as well as sort of like a bit of sinister darkness in the background. Number 10, Spallucci's Law. On entering the old Masonic Lodge, Sam gets whacked on the back of the head. Of course he does. Happens every time, doesn't it? Number 11, Greg and the Zombies. Well, as for Undertakers, I'm really not a fan of zombies. I tend to avoid using them in my stories because I find them very, very disconcerting. The idea that you could come back when you're dead and not have full control of what you're doing, it's very different than, say, a vampire who's dead and is doing their thing, or a werewolf who's taken on a power and doing their thing. So I wanted to combine sort of a more humorous side of this. This is why this is like the funny story, as it were, in the whole collection. And yeah, combining that with Greg's evil plans, I thought it came off very well, and I enjoyed writing the climax. It was good fun. Plus, we get some more of DCI Thrower. Again, who is he? Hope you enjoyed that. So those were like 11 little Easter eggs. There's going to be more to follow for the other stories. So make sure you subscribe to make sure you don't miss them. And again, Patreon, aschambers.co.uk, all over the internet, various places. See you again soon. Bye bye now.